For decades, the Brentwood home of Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner was held up as proof that true stability could exist in Hollywood. While other families crumbled under fame, theirs appeared untouched. 4 children, 1 roof, a life built on routine, laughter, and quiet love. But what no one saw was what hid behind that calm exterior. Because the house everyone admired was also carrying secrets, silent struggles, and a tension slowly building beneath the surface, one that would shatter everything no one believed could ever break. No one imagined that this same house would one day become the center of a tragedy that would leave Hollywood stunned and searching for answers. On December 14, everything that image represented collapsed. Inside that familiar Brentwood home, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner lost their lives in a brutal act of violence. Within hours, police arrested their son, Nick Reiner. What the public first saw as a sudden, unthinkable crime slowly revealed itself to be the final chapter of a long and painful family struggle that had been unfolding for years. At first, many believed the story was simple: a troubled son, addiction, mental illness, a tragic breaking point. But the truth was far more complex. As family members began to speak, it became clear that this was not just a story about violence. It was a story about love that couldn't find the right words, about regret that came too late, and about emotional wounds that were never fully healed. The first voice to break the silence belonged to Tracy Reiner, Rob Reiner's adopted daughter. Her words were not angry, they were not defensive, they were raw. She spoke about unfinished conversations, about things her father never had the chance to say, and about an apology that arrived only after it no longer mattered. Through tears, she admitted that if her father had lived just one more day, she believed the outcome might have been different. Soon after, another voice emerged. This time it was Romy Reiner, the youngest biological daughter of Rob and Michelle. Her perspective introduced a painful idea that unsettled the public. She suggested that the family's collapse may not have happened overnight, but rather through years of emotional imbalance and unresolved tension hidden behind the appearance of unity. The image of the perfect family, she implied, may have masked deeper struggles no one wanted to confront. To the world, Rob Reiner was more than a legendary filmmaker. He was known as a devoted father who never allowed fame to overshadow his responsibilities at home. Even while directing some of the most beloved films in cinema history, he made it a priority to be present for his children. His love was never loud or performative. It lived in consistency, in showing up, in listening, and in small moments repeated over a lifetime. With Tracy, his bond was especially strong. He never treated her as anything less than his own. He listened to her fears, defended her fiercely, and reminded her constantly that she was never alone. He once told her that she was his whole world and promised that no matter what happened, he would always stand by her side. Those words became an emotional anchor she carried into adulthood. With his eldest son, Jake Reiner, Rob shared a passion for baseball, a love passed down from his own father, Carl Reiner. Together, they traveled to stadiums across the country, turning ordinary games into meaningful experiences. Those trips weren't just about sports, they were about connection, tradition, and passing values from one generation to the next. With Romy, Rob was gentle and attentive. He made time to hear her worries, her dreams, and her disappointments. He reassured her that no matter where life took her, he would always be there. His presence gave her a sense of safety that followed her well beyond childhood. But with Nick, everything felt different. Rob loved his son deeply, but that love was laced with fear and urgency. From a young age, Nick struggled in ways his siblings did not. Where Rob valued structure and stability, Nick pushed against boundaries. Emotional volatility followed him early, and the bond between father and son never found the natural rhythm Rob shared with his other children. By the time Nick was 15, drugs entered his life. What began quietly soon escalated into heroin and cocaine addiction. Rob and Michelle watched helplessly as their son moved in and out of rehabilitation centers more than a dozen times. There were periods of homelessness, long stretches without contact, and countless nights filled with fear that the next phone call would bring devastating news. Desperate to save their son, Rob and Michelle turned to professional advice. They were told to practice tough love. Nick was forced into treatment. Financial support was cut off. At the time, Rob believed this was the only way to stop the spiral. Years later, he admitted that decision haunted him more than any mistake he had ever made. He confessed that they trusted experts more than their own child. They were told Nick was manipulating them, and they believed it. That belief created distance, and distance slowly turned into silence. There were years when Nick chose life on the streets over returning home. Arguments replaced conversations. Resentment replaced understanding. Rob and Michelle lived in constant dread, never sure whether their son was safe or even alive. In 2015, a fragile opportunity for healing emerged through the film Being Charlie. Rob Reiner directed the project, while Nick Reiner co-wrote it. The story was deeply personal, drawn from Nick's own experiences with addiction. Working together forced father and son into direct confrontation. There were heated arguments and painful truths spoken aloud, but for the first time, they also listened to each other. The process didn't fix everything, but it changed something. Rob began to see the weight his son had been carrying for years. Nick began to recognize his father's regret and fear. The relationship never fully healed, but it was no longer completely broken. For a time, Nick lived in the guest house on his parents' property, trying to rebuild some sense of stability. But mental health struggles lingered. The risk of relapse never disappeared. Michelle confided to close friends that they were emotionally exhausted. They had tried every option they knew. Then came the night before the tragedy. On December 13th, Rob and Nick attended Conan O'Brien's Christmas party together. What should have been a joyful evening quickly turned tense. Witnesses later recalled an uncomfortable scene. Rob, visibly frustrated, confronted Nick in front of others. Nick snapped back, years of pain spilling out in broken words. Then Rob said something that would echo forever. He told his son that he could no longer protect him if he continued living this way. And then he walked away, leaving Nick standing alone beneath the Christmas lights. Many who saw the exchange later described it as a dark omen. The next day, on December 14th, the unthinkable happened. An argument inside the Brentwood home escalated into violence. Nick grabbed an ordinary kitchen knife. Michelle was attacked first and died from severe blood loss. Hearing the struggle, Rob rushed in to protect his wife. He was stabbed in the neck and chest. Within minutes, everything was over. Rob had written about Nick, about regret, about fear. He questioned his own choices. He admitted wondering whether discipline had replaced compassion when his son needed presence the most. One passage revealed his deepest fear, that Nick might believe his father had stopped loving him. Another expressed a simple wish, not success, not fame, just peace. If Nick could wake up one morning without hating himself, Rob wrote, that would be enough. Holding those pages, Tracy finally understood that her father's silence had never been indifference, it had been fear. Today, what remains is not just loss, but a question that lingers long after the story ends. How can so much love exist, yet still fall short of saving those who needed it most? This was never a family without love. It was a family overflowing with it. And sometimes, even the deepest love isn't enough when the right words are never spoken in time. Thank you for watching.